On my second leg day, I always start with deadlifts. This is mainly just it's a gut check exercise, making sure I'm pushing and continuously striving for new strength and power. And also it sets me up well as it's a hamstring predominant day on my second leg day. So for my second exercise, I tend to choose a banded assisted leg press. I tend to have my feet on the lower portion, so it focuses more on my quad, so it's a bit of a biased. The reason why I've only got 210 kilos on the machine, although that I know I can press more for about the same kind of repetitions, but when you add the bands as a gradually increasing tension element through the exercise and remaining very in control and trying to feel as much muscle engagement as possible, I feel sometimes adding more weight can hinder my ability to feel that muscle work more than just getting up greater and greater weight. As you can see, I'm doing all 15 reps under as much control as possible, slight pauses on the top and on the bottom. I'm not allowing my hips to raise out of the seat, so then my posterior chain, my hamstrings and my glutes get too involved. The focus is predominantly and majority on my quads as I'm squeezing through the exercise. As you can see, the third exercise is laying down hamstring curls. One tip I've recently found out with lying hamstring curls to get the very most out of it is remaining and keeping your glutes as squeezed as hard as possible. So then it's not only driving your hips down in towards the seat, trying to nullify the engagement from your glutes, but it's allowing a much deeper and better contraction from the hamstrings. Now, as you can see, I am leading the movement a little bit with my heels here, where some people advocate pointing their toes. I just feel like I get a much better engagement through my hamstrings by having that kind of leading the motion with my heels and not pointing the toe too excessively. I tend to get quite bad calf cramp if I point with my toes. So as you can see, I'm getting a full stretch, slowing and controlling the eccentric. I've moved on to a new weight on this particular video. This is why I'm not trying to pause at the top, because at the moment I'm not as in control of that weight as I should be to be able to assist and add a pause at the top. So I'm just focusing on a good length and a good squeeze. So the fourth exercise I went with was front barbell squats. So me personally, I prefer squatting with the barbell free bar instead of doing it with the Smith machine. I just feel it fits my body profile better. Some people feel like using the Smith machine because it locks you in that up-down movement, that once you're fatigued from other exercises, you may be able to get just, those handful of reps, or just go that little bit thicker in the paint just to make sure you get every last inch of development out of the movement. With my technique, I make sure I don't lock my legs out, so I always keep a little bend in the knees, keeping the tension on my quads. I don't think of standing up. I always focus and control about pushing the floor down as hard as I can instead of standing up. I find that I deliver much more power that way. I keep my elbows elevated as high as possible, and I keep my core nice and tight, making sure that I'm getting every last bit of engagement out of this exercise. One of the last exercises I picked was seated hamstring curls, just placing my hamstrings in that slightly opposing position other than lying down, or anything to do with deadlifts where the hamstrings maximally lengthen, so I'm trying to maximally shorten them in this position. Due to the nature of the exercise and it's isolating that muscle pretty much completely, I make sure that I go as hard as I possibly can with as much control as I can. So the element is to just really break it down with slightly higher reps, slightly less weight than the rest of the other exercises. Normally I'll be focusing on rep ranges sort of anywhere between 6 and 15, but with these I'm always trying to get above 15 reps. Just making sure I have real good squeeze at the bottom where the muscle is maximally shortened, and slowing and controlling the length as I can. Just before it fully lengthens, I re-engage the exercise and squeeze again till literally I have nothing left. So this was the last exercise on the leg day, where it's a leg extension machine. So just like the seated hamstring curl, it's really isolating that part of the quads, and obviously the hamstring curl machine was isolating the hamstrings. And just like the same principle with the other machine, because it's locking me and fixing me in such an isolated position, allow me to just really give as much direct stimulus to that one particular area more than any other. I really just go as hard as I possibly can with as much control as I can. As you can see, I'm pausing. I'm not letting the weight stack go all the way down till it's touching. I'm keeping continuous tension on the muscle, really squeezing the hell out of those quads, making sure that I'm not kind of lifting my feet up, just squeezing the quad, and as a byproduct, the feet will raise when you squeeze the quad as hard as you can. So the main aim for this is just to go to absolute fatigue and failure, where I literally can't keep control of another rep. And even then, if I feel like it, or if I got a little bit of energy left for me, I'll just go and make a couple of few kind of swinging reps, or just trying to get some extra volume out that I normally wouldn't be able to get if I kept the same level of control, and just really take it to the nth degree.